I don't remember anyone sitting me down and saying, "Never ask for help." There wasn't a rule. There wasn't a family meeting. There wasn't a lesson in school. And yet, somehow, every single one of us learned it. We learned to get up after falling off our bikes without crying. We learned to walk home with scraped knees and bleeding elbows. We learned to fix what we broke. Figure it out. Walk it off. Keep moving. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, asking for help started feeling like failure. If this story feels familiar, I'd love for you to subscribe and become part of this Gen X community. Every week we remember the moments that shaped us, the lessons nobody taught us, and the memories only our generation truly understands. And before we go any further, tell me in the comments. ***, who taught you to just deal with it? ***. A parent. A teacher. Life itself. I think your answer says a lot about our generation. And if someone from your past would understand this story, share this video with them. Because I have a feeling they'll recognize themselves in it too. When I was growing up, parents weren't trying to be cruel. They were trying to prepare us. If you came home crying, they handed you a tissue. Not because they didn't care. Because they believed life wasn't going to stop, just because your heart was hurting. If you lost, you shook hands. If you failed, you tried again. If something broke, you fixed it. If nobody came to rescue you, you became your own rescue. At the time, it didn't feel unusual. It was simply how life worked. We were the generation that came home to empty houses. We made our own snacks, finished our homework, answered the phone, locked the doors. We weren't neglected. We were trusted. Or at least, that's how we chose to remember it. Looking back now, I realize something. We became independent long before we became adults. And independence became our identity. Then adulthood arrived. And the habits we learned as children came with us. When money became tight, we didn't ask for help. We picked up another shift. When the mortgage got harder to pay, we skipped buying things for ourselves. When the kids needed something, they got it first. When our parents got older, we became the caregivers. When marriages struggled, many of us smiled in public and cried in private. Nobody knew. Because nobody was supposed to know. I remember sitting at the kitchen table one night. The house was finally quiet. Bills covered the table. A calculator sat beside a cold cup of coffee. Everyone else was asleep. I looked around that empty room and realized I had spent years solving everyone else's problems. But I couldn't remember the last time I admitted I was struggling. Not because help wasn't available. Because asking never crossed my mind. Maybe that's what made Gen X different. We confused strength with silence. We believed carrying everything alone was proof that we were capable. So we carried work stress, financial stress, relationship problems, health worries, aging parents, children who needed us, dreams we quietly gave up. And somehow, we convinced ourselves that saying, "I'm overwhelmed," was something other people did. Not us. If you've made it this far, thank you for spending these moments with me. If these memories remind you of your own life, please subscribe. This channel exists because our generation's stories deserve to be remembered. Like this video if you've ever said, "I'm fine," when you weren't. And tell me in the comments. ***, what burden did you carry without telling anyone? You don't have to tell the whole story. Sometimes just naming it is enough. And if someone you love has always been the strong one, share this video with them. They might need to hear that someone finally understands. One of the hardest things about getting older isn't the gray hair. It's realizing how many years you spent pretending you didn't need anyone. I think about all the friends who never admitted they were struggling. The co-worker who joked through his pain. The neighbor who always offered help, but never accepted it. The parent who said, "Don't worry about me," even when they desperately needed someone to worry. That was us. We were raised to be dependable, reliable, self-sufficient. But nobody taught us how to receive, only how to give. I think that's why so many of us feel strangely uncomfortable when someone asks, "How are you, really?" Our first instinct isn't honesty. It's protection. "We're good. We'll manage. I've got it." 3 simple sentences. 3 lifelong habits. 3 ways of saying, "Please don't make me feel like a burden." Sometimes I wonder how different life might have been if we'd learned that strength and vulnerability could exist together. Imagine telling someone you were scared. Imagine admitting you were exhausted. Imagine letting someone carry part of your load. It sounds simple. But for many of us, it felt impossible. The truth is, we weren't trying to be heroes. We simply didn't want to become another person's problem. So we became experts at hiding our own. We smiled through difficult seasons, went to work with broken hearts, attended birthday parties while worrying about unpaid bills, laughed at family dinners while wondering how we'd make it through another month. Not because we were pretending, because that's what we believed adults were supposed to do. There was another moment I'll never forget. My child looked at me one day and asked, "Why didn't you tell us things were that hard?" I didn't know how to answer. Because the honest answer was, "I didn't want you carrying my worries." The same way my parents protected me. The same way their parents protected them. Generation after generation. We passed down quiet strength. But we also passed down quiet loneliness. And yet, despite everything, I wouldn't trade our generation. We learned resilience. We learned responsibility. We learned how to stand back up after life knocked us down. Those lessons mattered. They still do. But maybe, just maybe, there's another lesson worth learning too. That asking for help doesn't erase your strength. It reveals your humanity. I think that's the part many of us are finally beginning to understand. You can be independent and still lean on someone. You can be strong and still cry. You can carry responsibility without carrying it completely alone. That isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Something many of us discovered much later than we wish we had. If this story found a place in your heart today, I'd love for you to subscribe and join this growing Gen X family. Like this video if it reminded you that you're not the only one who carried more than anyone realized. Share it with a friend, a sibling, a spouse, or someone who has always insisted, "I'll handle it." And before you go, I want to leave you with one final question. When was the last time someone asked if you were okay, and you answered honestly? Tell me in the comments. Not because we're looking for sympathy, but because maybe, after all these years, our generation can finally remind each other that even the strongest people weren't meant to carry everything alone. Take care of yourself. You've carried enough. Maybe it's okay to let someone carry a little with you.